You are watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse. This is Brannon Howse Live. Whether the issue is law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, government, or national security, Brannon brings the issues of the day into clear focus through the lens of a Judeo-Christian worldview. And now, here is your host, Brannon Howse.
And good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Glad you are with us tonight. Here we are on June 16th. June 16th, 2025, 7:31 Central, 8:31 Eastern Standard. President Trump is reportedly leaving the G summit early to convene with his National Security Council in the Situation Room when he returns to the White House tonight. There are reports that there are assets being moved into the region. There are sketchy reports that America is already involved, but nothing we can confirm. We have reached out to several sources who even have sources on the ground in the Middle East, and we're trying to get some confirmation. We'll let you know as we stay in touch via text and email with those sources tonight. But many are wondering, where are we going? The nation, that is America. And what will this do to the MAGA movement? A president who said, look, we don't need more wars. Are we headed to war? Are we officially going to get involved? We're going to be joined tonight by Annie Cyrus, born and raised in Iran. Shahram Hadian, born and raised in Iran. Leo Holman, senior executive producer of the Worldview Report. And we endeavor to work in your phone calls tonight, something we have not done in a long time. But we'd like to take the pulse of this audience. Our position here, at least for myself, for some time, and many of our broadcast partners, has been we think Israel has 100% the right to defend themselves and their sovereignty. Absolutely, particularly when October 7th seemed to be clearly coordinated in conjunction with the regime of Iran. So Iran has the right, as does America or other sovereign nations, to defend themselves. And we, I believe, can, sell armaments to Israel. They have the money, and we can certainly sell it to them. We can even provide them with intelligence. I'm sure they have provided us with intelligence over the years that may have indeed saved many American lives. So they're an ally, they're a partner. We can trade information back and forth. We can sell them armaments. And if necessary, we can get involved in a defensive posture, knocking down missiles that are coming in that maybe the Iron Dome can't do all on its own, particularly when it comes to hypersonic. But we should not be involved in a war of offense with Israel, only a war of defense. That's what many of us have believed, because we have our own issues over here in America. I have said for some time, and I'm going to repeat it again till you're so tired of hearing about it, because I'm hoping that you will memorize it and share it with your family and friends. America's foreign policy and America's national policy is schizophrenic. Our domestic policy and our foreign policy is schizophrenic. We say that Israel, they need to defend themselves against the regime of Iran. They're calling for their death, their annihilation. They're calling for killing of the Christians and the Jews, the Zionists. They cannot get a bomb. Iran should not be allowed to have a bomb. Well, newsflash, I think they already have one. We've been talking about that for years with people like the late Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, former CIA analyst. But they can't get a bomb, we're told. That's what we even hear coming out of our White House again today. But if they already have the bomb and they haven't done anything with it, do we want to do anything to provoke that? If they have the bomb, do we want them getting more? That might be the more appropriate question. But if they're so dangerous, and those that are tied to this regime and their proxies are so dangerous as to be an existential threat against Israel, then let me ask you, when it comes to our domestic policy, why do we allow those Islamic terror cells in our country? Why do we allow Iranian-funded groups and organizations in our country? Why do we allow these mosques in our country that talk about eliminating the Christian and the Jew, Sharia, Islamic law over our constitutional republic? Intifada. Wait a minute. I thought this was not acceptable. This is an existential threat to Israel. And they need to respond. That's right. They do need to respond to existential threats. But how can we say the threat is over there and now maybe we have to get involved when the same threat is right here on our shores, on the lower 48 for sure? And yet, ne'er a word is mentioned by people in the mainstream media. And if you speak the truth too boldly about Islam, you're called Islamophobic, over the top. Our foreign policy does not match our domestic policy. So yes, I don't think America should get themselves roped into a Middle East war. I certainly don't need my sons dying on the battlefield in the Middle East. We have our own wars to fight here in America. We have an information war. We have literally a religious war, Islam. We have a border war. We have a drug war. There's an economic war. As many of these nations, by the way, are aligned with the BRICS banking system. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and others now have joined to bring down the American dollar. And boy, that's what we need, right? Is just go ahead and finish off the United States of America with more foreign wars, more inflation, printing of dollars to fund foreign wars. The bankers love it. The Federal Reserve and their banker buddies, I think, love this. So I've been pretty consistent. We can sell Israel weapons. We can provide them with intelligence. And maybe we get involved in helping in a defensive posture, but we certainly should not be involved in an offensive way. Not if we are not ready, particularly for this to break out to a wider war when you realize about Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Do you really want to send your sons and grandsons to the Middle East? You want to draft? And then what about the terror cells? We keep saying that. What about the terror cells? We know they're here from federal trials. We know they're here. We know they're here partly because the imams talk about how they have this big, gigantic standing army that gathers for Friday prayers in the mosques of America. We have a tweet that was put out today by Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says, rightfully so, pray for our troops. Pray for the innocent people in Israel and Iran. She's right. Pray that we aren't attacked on our homeland after our border was open for 4 years and millions of people and millions of gotaways came in. And she's so right. She's so right. War has bad consequences, she put on her tweet. We voted for America first. America has a lot of existential threats facing us. Interestingly enough, they look and smell a lot like the existential threats facing Israel. But yet, we're apparently going to move a lot more assets into the Middle East to defend Israel and leave our homeland more and more vulnerable. And then who just simply decides to activate those terror cells and when? That's one question I've been asking for a long time. The White House tonight retweeted President Trump's Truth Social post. Quote, said President Trump, Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame. And what a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, end quote, President Donald J. Trump. Now, why is President Trump this afternoon calling for everyone to evacuate Tehran? What's coming? What is coming? Then the president tweeted today. He tweeted at Tucker Carlson. I have that here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. He basically, I thought these guys had a big romance, but apparently that's fallen apart. Somebody, he writes, somebody, please explain to kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Well, the question is, does the MAGA movement fall apart? And is this what the deep state has been counting on? Divide the MAGA movement? Get President Trump so involved in international affairs, he doesn't have a whole lot of time to be involved in domestic affairs, things like maybe replacing the system that is the Federal Reserve. I would say tonight, pray for President Trump. President Trump is a man that has a lot on his shoulders. He has a lot on his shoulders. He needs wisdom. He needs discernment. Don't we all, though? Pray for President Trump. Pray for Israel. Pray for the innocent people in Iran who want liberty and freedom. We were on the air for 2 hours on Saturday. We were on the air for 2 hours on Father's Day. I had great plans of spending the day in the yard, a beautiful sunny day in the Mid-South, and I thought, I'm just going to spend the day tinkering in the yard. Won't that be fun? I won't have to put on a suit and a tie. I might not even comb my hair. I might just wear a ball cap all day. No such thing. Spent the whole day in a suit, pretty much, getting ready and then coming on. I'm not complaining. It is what it is. We signed up for it. But we spent 2 hours on Saturday on the air, 2 hours on Sunday on the air. And I'll tell you, we had huge numbers. Our audience is highly tuned in to what's going on. And in some of the clips this weekend, we played clips of Iranians, Persians, sitting on their deck, overlooking the city landscape as the bombs were falling, and they were cheering as each Israeli bomb hit. They were cheering. At one point, we literally played video of them passing out popcorn while they sat on the deck, watching the bombs fall, cheering because they want this regime to come down. And then there was a confusing message over the weekend from President Trump that, well, no. Reports are that President Trump is urging Israel not to go after Khomeini. Really? Why not? To come back to the table. Come back to the table. Why? Why do we want them to come back to the table to negotiate? This is a regime that's falling. Let it fall. Let Israel do her thing. Let them take out Khomeini. I don't know. I found it confusing and conflicting. But then again, that's the fog of real war. Information that's constantly flooding in. I want to try to cut President Trump, some grace, some slack. It's a difficult job. The presidency has almost become too big for one person, hasn't it? But then again, that's because we have ourselves a federal government that's way bigger than the founders ever envisioned. And we're stretched all over the world with military bases all over the world. Something, again, that, well, needs to not continue. We need to bring a lot of our troops home. We need our own country secure, our own borders safe. We've got to get these terror cells out of the country, these gangs, these drug gangs, cartels. And don't forget, Carlos the Jackal, well-known jihadist, said years ago, America can only fall when a coalition of the Islamists and the Marxists comes together. The Marxists and the Islamists, when they come together, then America will fall. We have such massive existential threats in our country. We don't need all those troops overseas. We need to be strong at home. Am I talking about being an isolationist? No, I'm not. But I'm talking about America first. That's what most people want, just to have a safe homeland. And yet, are we going to be safer if we go to war in the Middle East? Is that something, again, you're willing to offer up for your family, your son, your grandson, for the Middle East? Not me. Joining me tonight is our distinguished panel. Annie Cyrus, as I said, born and raised in Iran. Shahram Hadian, born and raised in Iran. And Leo Holman, executive producer of The World Report. Gentlemen and lady, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Brannon.
Thank you, Brannon. Thank you.
Let's start with you, Annie. What's the latest that we're hearing tonight?
I have so much latest. I don't think we can fit all of it into one Brannon Howse live episode. But
well, we'll go as long as we got to go, Annie.
Yes. Okay. Let me start here. As you were talking, Brannon.
Well, I got music.
Wait a minute. We got to go for it.
I forgot. I'm like, why are they playing music in my ear? That's a hard break. The computer's going to take it away. And when I come back, we'll get to each of them. Annie Cyrus is liveuptofreedom.com and liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Leo Holman is leoholman.com and leoholman.substack.com. And Shahram Hadian is tilministry.com, tilministry.com. Hey, look at this, by the way, folks. My wife picked these beautiful hydrangeas 2 weeks ago today. And you know why they are not dead? As they normally would after a couple of days, start wilting and dying. 2 weeks, and they're as pretty as the day she put them in here 2 weeks ago today. You know why? Because it's in that filtered water at worldviewwater.net. That's the water I shower in. Add that to all the other great things I take. No wonder my hair growth is so good. But all that chemicals are out, and this plant is living. Worldviewwater.net. We'll be right back.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate undersink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
Hello, I'm Brannon Howse. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHowseBG.com. And welcome back. Glad you are with us. So as I was saying before that hard break, 2 weeks ago today, she picked these. And you know why they're not dead? They look pretty much like the same as they did 2 weeks ago when she put them in here. Because it's in that water that's been purified, filtered. No copper, no chlorine, no arsenic, no pesticides, no fluoride, no ammonia, no lead. All those toxins are out. And that's allowing that plant to live a lot longer. The beautiful hydrangeas. My wife loves hydrangeas. We have beautiful hydrangeas here in the South. Some of you, I guess that's to do with the soil. You get pink, you'll get blue, you get all kinds of them. But folks, if this beautiful plant is doing this well on this water after 2 weeks, what do you think it does to you in a positive way? Again, I think my Bella Grace has played a lot in my hair growth the last 2 years. But I also think the fact I have one of these filters on my shower of good, clean water, I think it's a combination of all the great things we're doing. But I'm telling you, folks, I had to bring these into the studio tonight because my wife clipped them 2 weeks ago, put them in water, and I said, I can't believe those things. She's, that's that water. That's that purified water at worldviewwater.net. So check it out, folks, worldviewwater.net, worldviewwater.net, one of our great sponsors here, folks. And it takes all of these sponsors to bring in the 40,000, about 40 grand a month we have to bring in to pay our bills. So it takes a whole team to get it done, worldviewwater.net. All right, let's go back to you, Annie. Sorry, the hard computer break took it away. Let's get to it. I know you have some things you want me to bring up on my screen, I'm sure, and show as you speak.
Yes, actually, I just sent you an email with two attachment pictures as you were talking, and the whole Trump, this and that. But what you're looking at happened last week, literally the weekend before the Thursday attack. What you're looking at is our queen in the middle, white suit with flowers. Behind her is her son, Crown Prince Pahlavi. To her right side in the wedding dress is her granddaughter, and to her side is her new husband. I'm not saying anything specific. I'm just going to give the information and let you, Sharon, and Leo actually talk about this information. She is the granddaughter of Reza Pahlavi, the late king of Iran, and the daughter of the Crown Prince Pahlavi. The guy, the new groom, her husband, is Bradley Sherman. if you put up the next picture, it might be a nicer surprise. Bradley Sherman is an American businessman who is also a Jew.
Oh.
And in this picture, you can see they did the Jewish wedding ceremony. So we just had, I'll let you pick up from here, Brannon. I thought this might connect certain dots for the audience.
So if you put the prince, the son of the Shah, back into Iran, I guess they would clearly have a friend, would they not? Israel and the Jews would have a friend in the region.
I would say they most certainly would. And I don't think...
Because this is his daughter, right?
This is his daughter,
that means
yes.
his grandkids, that means his grandkids are going to be half Jewish.
Correct. And this is in, like, few days before the attack, a holy ceremony of marriage takes place between an Iranian, descendant of King Pahlavi, and a Jewish American businessman. And the wedding is Jewish ceremony. I don't know. I don't think that was just a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. I'm just going to finish my sentence. I mean, Mr. President Trump, I shall always pray for you. But if you think suddenly you can become relevant, become the hero of the story, you should have attended that wedding.
Wow. Now, wouldn't that have been quite the media picture? I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have wanted all that circus there. But can you imagine if the President of the United States shows up at a wedding of the Shah's granddaughter and she's marrying a Jewish man?
Well, if he acknowledged Prince Pahlavi's letter from January 20th, maybe he would have received an invitation. But he didn't. And now suddenly he's got all these. And then I just want to say again, I might be very out of line here, but I don't think anything he's been saying and doing today means we're going to get involved or send our troops over. I don't think so.
Well, we are getting word that Secretary of Defense Hegseth just confirmed peace through a nuclear deal is still Trump's goal. And according to one U.S. official told Fox News, the USA is not currently joining Israel in the war on Iran.
Brannon, what is there to join at this point? Israel finished it. I actually published 2 Substacks today, but the earlier afternoon Substack, I pretty much did a summary. There is nothing left for us to go do. Israel pretty much took all the main places out, including earlier this afternoon that you broke on your radio. They took out the Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcasting building. They took it all out. All the leaders except the supreme leader and the president are taken out as well. What are we supposed to do right now? Go help with what? Clean up?
Can I interject here?
Jump on in. And by the way, her new Substacks are at liveuptofreedom.com. One of them is entitled Khomeini's Mental Collapse Under Israeli Fire, and there's more at liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Jump in, Leo.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just a humble commentator sitting here in rural Georgia. I'm not an Iranian by birth person or have any skin in this game. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Iranian. I'm just a humble Southern redneck. But isn't the biggest job of all still not completed? And that, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, that is taking out the nuclear facilities, not just degrading it, but destroying it, which is what Israel said needed to be done. And I don't think that has been done yet. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
I
think Donald Trump needs to give his bunker-busting bombs to Israel or use them himself with the U.S. military to finish the job. I'm open to people saying I'm listening to fake news, but I haven't seen where that's happened.
No, I don't think it has happened. We did hear that one site registered basically a small earthquake, so I don't know if that was a a bomb that hit so heavily it registered on the Richter scale and did enough damage? I don't know. Shahram, jump in. Your thoughts here, because I heard someone else today put out, well, if you have a good guy coming in, maybe they don't need to finish taking out the nuclear weapons. If you have a good guy that's going to come in and take over.
But you know what they do need, if that's the case? They need troops on the ground to secure those nuclear facilities against some sort of sabotage with, remnants of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, perhaps in the area, remnants of the military. You just don't know in a situation like that. It's so sensitive that I would think Israeli troops or U.S. troops or some combination thereof would have to be sent in to secure those facilities if they are not fully and duly destroyed at the end of this so-called end of this war.
Jump in here, please, Shahram.
Yeah, I mean, I hear both sides of the discussion. I think that there's a few factors here. One is that if indeed this regime is falling or has fallen, with what Annie just brought about with who's left standing, and the fact that they hit their state-sponsored media hub, which was part of their Defense Department site. The concern is, we have to understand, I said this the other day, Saturday when I was with you guys, that there's a lot of factions in Iran that make it difficult for a quick transition. Even if Reza Pahlavi comes in, there are factions in Iran that are not going to just jump behind him because there are Arabs in Iran, there are Armenians, there's still some Armenians in Iran, there's a lot of different factions that are there. So to Leo's point, if you don't take out the installations, we have not heard very much about Bushehr, which is, there was an article today about Natanz south of Tehran, that there was an implosion, but we have not heard very little, if anything, about Bushehr, which is that main facility that is in that southwest corner of Iran. So the challenge so here's a couple of things. One is, I am still not in favor of U.S. intervention, as you said earlier, Brannon, with regards to boots on the ground. I think you assist Israel, you give them whatever armament they need. I think you give them whatever intelligence you need. As I said the other night, they need moral support. The Iranian people need moral support. I'm still waiting Trump says today, evacuate Tehran. Okay, but still nothing, no statement that we are with the Iranian people. Also, remember that today there was damage to the U.S. embassy in Tel Aviv, and there was I saw some commentary that would mean potentially a limited response, because now Iran directly hit, either directly or indirectly from shrapnel or debris, hit the U.S. embassy consulate there in Tel Aviv. So I don't know. Does that put some skin in the game for America? Because now one of their targets got hit. You got to be able to have some military control over Iran under an interim government until you have time to work out all the factions. Yeah. I just don't see a quick, easy peasy transition here.
And now we have reports of another facility that has been found today that supposedly we didn't know about. At least that's what we're being told in the media. The media didn't know about it. The American people, I guess, didn't know about it. Have you guys heard about that new facility that apparently nobody knew about?
The 2,500 acre.
2,500 acres.
Yes.
I didn't hear about that one. So.
Yeah.
No.
And let me add something else to that. President Trump just made this comment not too long ago when leaving the G7 early.
Why are you leaving the G7 early for Washington?
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. You did a fantastic job. Thank you in Canada. But you probably see what I see. And I have to be back as soon as I can. I'm going to have dinner with the these wonderful leaders, and then I get on the plane. I have to be back early.
Have you heard of the National Security Council?
I loved it. I tell you, I loved it. And I think we got a lot done. Really a lot done. In fact, UK, we signed a big trade deal today, and we're working on others. But we had just a really great relationship with everybody, and it's really nice. I wish I could stay for tomorrow, but they understand. Is
there a reason,
big,
Mr. President,
this is big stuff.
This is big stuff. This is big stuff, he just said. Wow. Okay, so there's that. And now we're hearing that the Secretary of Defense is saying, hey, look, if I have to move in equipment and people and different assets into the region, I'm just doing my job, which is to protect our people. So I guess he's going to, right now, I'm kind of thinking Pete Hegseth is trying to walk that line with the MAGA movement, right? Because he needs to have a career, I guess, selling books and speaking and giving speeches at conservative MAGA events, or what would be left of it after his term as Secretary of Defense. So he says, hey, if you see what I'm doing, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. I've got to move some assets into the region because part of my job is keeping the people that are there already safe. So even the way things are being said and parsed, you can see this tension here. And now it's swirling on social media. If we go to war in the Middle East, and America does get involved there more than a defensive posture, but an offensive posture, will that destroy the MAGA movement? Let's ask our roundtable that tonight, along with more clips and more information. We're still endeavoring tonight to open the phone line, something we have not done in a long time. I'd like to take the pulse of you, our listening and viewing audience. So we'll endeavor to do that. We'll be back more with Leo Holman and Shahram Hadian and Annie Cyrus. And again, don't forget about another great way you can support your health and us at the same time. Do what I've been doing since December of 2023, taking this elixir every day, Bella Grace. You can check it out at melissahousebg.com. 80 clinical trials, melissahousebg.com. We'll be right back. July 6, 2005. This is Tom Harper. Man figures plankton stopped his rare cancer. We got more of a response from our viewers than anything else you and I have ever discussed.
Tom Harper, 20 years ago, he had mesothelioma, deadly lung cancer, was given weeks to live, and he just intuitively started to eat the phytoplankton out of his fish tanks because he fed the phytoplankton to his shellfish. He was a shellfish farmer. And when he went in for the surgery, the surgeon came out of the operating room and told his family, I have not ever seen anything like it. The cancer is benign, and Tom Harper lived for years. He retired in Hawaii. We're not making any claim.
Here he is in his own words.
Started on a daily routine of just taking a bit of paste, putting it in my mouth, and wash it down with a drink of water. Within about 10 to 15 days, here I am, less pain in my back. I knew that something was going on, so I just kept eating half a teaspoon of this paste a day. I was booked to go for surgery in Victoria where they were going to do what they call a talc treatment. They went in there to have a look, saw something they never seen before, took 11 sites, sent them away for biopsy. I got the news back. Everything was benign. They just did not know what to make of it. Everything was absolutely clean. And I've tried dieting all my life because I'm a diabetic. If it's a coincidence or not, I don't know. My blood sugar started dropping. My weight started falling off. Here I am, no longer requiring insulin, and I was taking 88 units a day of insulin. I can eat just about what I want in moderation, and I have no elevated sugar levels, and I feel fabulous.
People, you hear the word cancer, and they want you to be instilled with fear. Cancer is nothing but a profound failure of the immune system. And what happened with Tom Harper is the phytoplankton is microscopic. It's God's microscopic food. And the Gattatana is the most nutritionally comprehensive strain phytoplankton in the world. David Hunter studied phytoplankton for 20 years because he worked for Tom Harper, and he was there in person and witnessed Tom's recovery. It's about getting pure nutrition inside your cells. And what happens, your body balances again or goes back to homeostasis. And when your body is pH balanced or in homeostasis, disease can't grow. It is literally microscopic pure single cell plant food with protein and omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids, with amino acids and vitamins and minerals. 1 scoop a day. There's 90 billion plant cells in here just for everyday nutrition and energy and, cognitive support, because this is God's pure nutrition.
Go to melissahousegpa.com today. Discover the science and learn more about the wonderful benefits of Gaditana phytoplankton. That's melissahousegpa.com. melissahousegpa.com.
And welcome back. My friends, go real quick if you would, worldviewstore.com. Make sure you have your emergency supplies and emergency gear. From gas mask, here we have right here, I have in studio one of our EMT kits. This is one of our EMT kits, and it is, come back to me if you would, guys, one of my EMT kits. This is a great EMT kit. Again, I would urge all of you to have this no matter what's going on in the world or in the United States. This is just a wise thing to have. And if you have a nurse or a nurse practitioner, a doctor lives in an EMT paramedic that lives in your neighborhood, your town nearby, they can help you if you have the right gear sometimes, right? We had a guy need stitches here that was traveling with Roger Stone a couple years ago. They got in a wreck. Somebody T-boned him. He needed stitches. And they didn't want to go to the doctor. He's like, I don't want to go mess with that. And so we called up a doctor friend, and he's like, if you have the sutures, I can stitch him up. I just don't have any sutures at home. So we got him stitched. And so we have these in our medical kit, and then we sell more. If you go over to worldviewstore.com, we also sell extra suture sets. There's one right there. So again, make sure you have everything you need, including emergency freeze-dried food. We have 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 year. I have over 2 years worth. For my family and the guys that work in the control room. And I also want to barter with some of it if I need to. So make sure you have everything you need at worldviewstore.com. By the way, we do have these gas masks. We have sold hundreds of these Israeli. These are Israeli gas masks, okay? They're made in Israel. They're shipped over here to us. We have sold hundreds of those. They're all available at worldviewstore.com with the carbon filters and the whole 9 yards. Worldviewstore.com. Let's go back to our esteemed panel. Today, guys, I don't know if you guys saw this video that's right here. What she said, this is Iranian state media. What she said is, if the God of Israel is greater than Allah, may he strike me dead or strike me right here, right now. And what happened? That's what she was saying. I got the interpretation. Oh, that's what she said. Excuse me, I got to go. All right. I made that up. I have no idea what she was saying. Oh, you thought that was real, did you, Leo?
Well, I was getting ready to correct you if it was, because she was back on the air within minutes.
Yeah, no, I made that one up. But I had to put that one on loop today and watch that one. That one is like my new happy video. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got to go change. I got to go change my panties. Oh, brother. All right. Let's go back. We have to have a moment of levity. You like that one, Sharam?
Yes. I've watched that video about 10 times today.
Okay, so we've all got it on loop today. It's our happy video. Well,
it was just the audacity.
Yeah.
She was challenging them.
Yeah, she was. Look at this.
She was just saying.
What was she saying as we watched the traffic fleeing Tehran?
What you just heard, they're playing the bombing and said, what you just heard is the voice of the Zionist invading your land, your nation, and your country. And then as soon as she went for the what you just heard, she actually shook. But yeah, she was just saying that, trying to get people's patriotism up to join the military. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned, they can't get anyone to join. Nobody's joining Iran's IRGC right now.
I bet not. And look at them. This is reportedly video tonight. I can't confirm it, but I bet you can, Annie.
Yes, it is. It's the Tehran highway exit out of Tehran. Most of them toward Gilan. I don't know why. Sharam, you might know why people are heading to Shamal. I don't know why, but most people are heading that way, which is north of Iran.
Yeah, I mean,
Gilan, can I say something?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Today's news out of the war front between Israel and Iran, I mean, it has just been like a whiplash, okay?
Yes.
Are any of you frustrated with the information we're getting? It seems like, both sides are playing the same game. We've had Trump and Netanyahu warn everybody to leave Tehran because something big and awful is going to happen. We've had Iran warn everybody to get out of Tel Aviv at first, and now they're saying everyone needs to get out of Israel, period, because something big and awful is going to happen. China and Russia and Germany, I'm getting reports, have issued warnings for all staff to leave their embassies throughout Israel. So you do get the feeling that something's going to happen. But are we all being played? I mean, how do we know what's really happening in this war? I think we're all relying on shaky information based on our own hopes and desires. I don't think this war is as close to ending as maybe we think.
Well, particularly since we don't know if it's true that a Chinese aircraft landed in Tehran today.
Right.
And if that's true, if that's true, and what was on board.
That's another big story today. Correct. So there's just so many unknown unknowns, as some famous politician once said. And we've got Lindsey Graham, by the way, tweeting he's ready to wet his pants. He's so excited that he thinks the United States, Donald Trump, if we go by what Lindsey Graham is saying, Donald Trump has authorized something big. Okay. I know Trump and Hegseth and the official types are denying it, but Lindsey Graham put out a tweet this evening where he's all excited about Donald Trump. He has now come along to Lindsey's point of view, according to Lindsey, and he's ready to launch something. Okay, so there are so many variables out there right now that I think the only wise policy is maybe to wait and see.
But don't you think it's odd, though, that the American people have been sitting here for how many days now, Annie? We've been complaining that we want to hear a formal statement from the Oval Office from the president.
Yeah.
4 days. Well, technically 5 days, but Thursday night was late night, so 4 days.
Yeah.
Could I shamelessly?
By the way, I don't speak Hebrew, and I'm sure this is going to be Hebrew. But listen to this, Channel 14, I guess in Israel.
אז זה הדיווחים האמריקאים שיש עכשיו, טראמפ צפוי לחתום ממש בקרוב על צו נשיאותי להצטרפות.
All right, I think that's Hebrew and I don't speak Hebrew. I think that's Channel 14. We're trying to get wake up Aaron, our reporter on the ground in Israel.
I mean, I go back to that old
let me just
saying.
say, guys, we're being told, okay, I cannot confirm, but we're being told that President Trump is expected to sign a presidential order in the coming hours to join the war.
There you go.
That's what's circulating, but I cannot confirm. I cannot confirm, but that's what's circulating.
That would explain Lindsey Graham's excitement. And so I do think
all right, here we go. We do have it from Viv. We do have it from Vivid, which is a source that I find pretty trustworthy. Quoting Channel 14, which was just in Hebrew. Quote, Trump is expected to sign a presidential order to join the war in the coming hours, according to U.S. reports, end quote, Channel 14. So there you go. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what we're hearing, guys.
You know, when the U.S. government says it's not going to do something, you can pretty much guarantee that it is. That's my experience. Our problem is we take these communiques, these statements coming from the U.S. government, the Israeli government, the Iranian, well, nobody believes the Iranian government, but we tend to take the statements coming from Washington and Tel Aviv at face value. I'm here to tell you, folks, that in war, the first casualty is the truth. And it doesn't matter if the statement is coming from your side or the other side. The chances are it's not true, or it's half true, or it's true for that second, but not 2 seconds later. Folks, we're in the fog of war right now, and a big part of it is the information war. And who was it you had on your show last week, Brannon? I think it might have been David Pine, but I wouldn't swear to it, was saying that during the Cold War, the Soviets were the known experts, top of the hill when it came to the art of propaganda. But right now in 2025, they have fallen so far down the pack and down the pecking order in terms of skill level in executing propaganda wars. The West has passed the Russians and is so much better at putting out fake news and false reports and getting people to believe it. Okay. So, like I said, we can only wait until it happens. Trump said just an hour or so ago that he has not authorized anything. And you know what? At that very moment, that may have been true. But he knew in his head he was going to authorize it an hour later. So he lied to us.
But he did say big stuff, big stuff, big stuff.
Yeah.
So, Sharon.
Brannon.
Sharon,
Yeah.
Are you a little shocked that we've had this major war brewing here now underway, actually war between Iran and Israel, and we have troops in the region, we have assets in the region, and now we're on day 4 and we've still failed to hear a formal presidential address? Isn't that a little shocking to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's shocking in the sense of on multiple fronts, because one, as we talked about the other night, it is not preparing the American people for what we potentially are going to face here. I've said all along that at this level, at this point, with how diminished the Islamic Republic of Iran was even before this attack, that my greatest concern remains the proxies, those that are already outside of the country, those that are already have their marching orders, those that have already just are waiting for the moment that they're called into action. So he should be preparing the American people for the potential of what we could see and vigilance on the American soil, but also if they are moving assets. And, you know, my question to what Vivid put out and that whole statement is, to what extent are they getting involved? As I just said, there was already some chatter earlier that there would be a limited response because of the strike on the embassy in Tel Aviv, the U.S. embassy. To what extent? What are we talking about here? And if they're telling people to flee Tehran, which is, what is it, Annie? I'm trying to remember. I think it's 17 million people live in Tehran.
I think about that.
Yeah, that they're going north. By the way, Gilan is where I was born. I was born in Rasht. That's Gilan. That's the province of Gilan up there by the Caspian Sea. So if they're fleeing up that way, that's mountainous. There's a lot of mountainous areas that you drive over Ghazvin and you get up to that area. A lot of rural mountainous areas, not as populated. The question is, where are they going? They're not going to be camping. So this is, look, I agree with Leo to the point of we just don't know right now. We're speculating, but I am troubled that there is either no communication or miscommunication from the United States government. What game are they playing here? Is it because China said now they're backing Iran? Is that why they are doing this posturing? Has something changed there? Are we witnessing, Brannon? Could this be the Ezekiel 38 coalition? I mean, prophetically, we haven't even talked about that, but now we have Russia, China. We know Turkey will jump in. They've already made statements.
And you know what's really interesting about that is Bible scholars agree that it's going to happen, but many of them disagree as to the timing, which is the case with so many issues. They're all like, well, this will happen. Yeah, we all agree that. Now let's argue about when. And they'll argue about when, but they don't really know. When it comes to the Gog-Magog, for anyone that's new, that's the Ezekiel 38-39 scenario, where a leader and a collection of leaders, the nations join together, they're listed there. You can go to the table of nations as to what they meant at the time of their writing and figure out basically what nations move against Israel. Now, some scholars say that will happen 6 months after the rapture, if you believe in a pre-tribulation rapture, which I do. Some pre-tribulation guys believe it happens before the rapture, maybe just a few months before the rapture of the church. You have this. Some believe it happens in about the middle of the tribulation. They're all over the map. Yeah. One thing they agree on is it's going to happen. But to the dispensationalist, which I am one, or the pre-tribbers, which I am one, that thinks that this has to happen after the rapture. No, we have no indication. It could happen while we're here watching it, right?
Exactly.
Right, Sharon?
I just got a text. I just got a text from noted preacher Brannon, pre-trib dispensationalist preacher, who told me actually Israel's going to end up nuking Damascus and Syria, making it uninhabitable forever.
Well, that's
Turkey
Isaiah 17. Isaiah 17 talks about Damascus not being able to be occupied ever again, which has never happened.
He was talking about Ezekiel 38 and 39 before that, and saying that it would happen after. Yes, here it is. But a time will come when the forces in Ezekiel 38 and 39 will be arrayed in such magnitude against Israel that they will not be able to win, and that's when God miraculously intervenes. That day is ahead, and maybe sooner than we think, but most likely after the rapture.
Yeah, and again, theologians disagree. Most of them believe it's after the rapture, but there are those who say it can happen before. But that destruction of Damascus, that's Isaiah 17. Folks, where else are you going to hear this? Don't go away. We'll be right back with more.
I'll tell you one little quick story. We had a Worldview Weekend client who lived in California, lost their house. Very wealthy guy. He didn't use Bitcoin. He came over here, drove to Arizona with $286,000 worth of his gold because he had no money and no house available. His bank was shut down because he couldn't have access to his bank account.
Was this during the fire? Was this during the fires?
During the fire. Didn't have his driver's license. He lost it. The state wouldn't give him a new license because he had no active mailing address. Real mess. So he came to Arizona to buy a house. He's moving everything over. He said, the only thing I got in my possession that I can get liquid with right now is my gold. I gave him a check for $286,000, and guess what? I didn't need his social, his driver's license. Sort of smiled, and I said, you know, I know you and Brannon talked about how this worked, but boy, this is great. I feel good. I got my money. Nobody bothered me, and I'm protected, and it's private.
Just simply go to worldviewgold.com, fill out the form, worldviewgold.com.
Looking for a trusted source to understand today's world through a Christian worldview? Worldview Tube is built on the 35 years of Worldview books, columns, research, and high-profile interviews of Brannon Howse. Want to know more about Worldview Tube, its founder, history, team, and mission? Visit worldviewtube.com/about. That's worldviewtube.com/about. Worldview Tube is your source for understanding the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
All right, folks, this is a 3-month supply right here. You want to pull that lower third down? Well, I guess not. I'll lift it up. It's heavy. That's a 3-month supply for one person right there. 3 months. 2,000 calories a day. Okay? You got iced tea, you got mashed potatoes, you got rice, you got all kinds of stuff. We also have gluten-free. We have vegetable and fruit. We have it all. Amazing. This is real food. It's freeze-dried, but it's real food. We've actually made it. We've given it to people. They're like, they didn't know they were eating freeze-dried. Then we told them, like, this is freeze-dried? Tastes like real food. We're like, it is real food, right? So that's at worldviewstore.com. It's heavy. Worldviewstore.com. All right? I would also urge you to go. You can also use our phone number if you prefer to order it over the phone. Melissa will gladly help you with that. 901-825-0652, 901-825-0652. I would also go to worldviewtalk.com. This is my satellite phone. At least I can get a hold of family members because I have family members that all have satellite phones. Okay? So you need to have a satellite phone should the cell towers go down. The beautiful thing about this with Tina at Worldview Talk is she rolls your minutes over every month. So I have tons of minutes waiting for me if I need it. By the way, she called me today. She said, Ron and Helen are here. They've driven 139 miles, come in and pick up some stuff. They listen to your show all the time. I said, well, put them on. I want to say hello. So I visited with Ron and Helen for a few minutes. And I think they were getting the satellite phone. They were looking at a solar generator. They were taking quite a bit of stuff back with them. So they drove 139 miles, okay? Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com. Get ready. I don't know what's coming, but I certainly know I've got a lot of my stuff ready to go because I figured that one of these days this kind of thing was going to happen, but it's not too late to get ready. We're shipping every day pretty much. So check it all out at worldviewstore.com or Worldview Talk for the satellite phone, the solar generators, that sort of thing. All right, joining me again is our distinguished panel, Leo Holman from leoholman.com, Shahram Hadian is tilministry.com, and Annie Cyrus, liveuptofreedom.com. All right, guys, one of the things we're seeing out of Iran real quick, as we're monitoring all the fluid news coming out right now, is video footage. Annie, can you confirm that some of the prisoners, some of the Iranian prisoners?
No, they're not. They're not prisoners. There is a, I don't know what it's called in English. Sharon John, help. The place where you go in, a rehab. Addiction rehab. There was, where it was a rehab facility. Those who are coming out were basically in the rehab facility. It is not prison break or, no, it's a rehab.
Now, and to that point, though, what about political prisoners? Is there a point where those people will be let out?
Well, if you remember, Saturday. No, I'm sorry. Yes, Saturday on your coverage when I was on, there was an announcement that Khamenei has announced that he's going to pardon or commute 1,700 prisoners' sentences and let them go. However, since he's having a full-on mental breakdown in a bunker with his family, the 1,700 who were promised to be released have not been released yet.
Do you know he's having a mental collapse? Or are you just...
Yes.
You do?
No, okay.
No, yeah, that's
the Substack you just put up, if you scroll a little bit, there is an exclusive 9-minute video from Iran International, documents on the video. I have translated the video, put a full English subtitle on it, and then I put a summary for those who don't want to read subtitles for 9 minutes. This is the summary. It is confirmed that military generals and head of military are not even informing him of what is happening. They are feeding him a bunch of illusion and lies, including the news that came out of the female pilot captured. It all started from there. He is genuinely having a meltdown. And also, if you remember, Brannon, we were on the phone. I said that I received a screenshot of a text message, SMS, going out to Iranian people with a bank account information from IRGC asking for donations for Khomeini's health. Like, they're genuinely asking people to donate.
They're doing like a telethon. They're doing like a telethon for his health.
A GoFundMe.
Yes. And that's the thing. I want to just point something out. I 100% agree with everything Leo said before the ad break. Yes, both sides are bigging themselves up and reporting wrong. However, I will plug myself shamelessly for a minute. Since Thursday night until today, on my Substack and on my Facebook, I have only reported on citizen journalism, videos I have received from people inside Iran, pictures, information that is confirmed. So my point is there are few of us out there who are doing the true reporting. Unless it's confirmed, we're not putting it out. We're making sure we get at least 3 sources inside Iran, not on the side of the regime, confirm the story we're getting. So there is still hope that full truth is being reported, even though the mainstream on all sides, including ours, are just lying as always.
And now, of course, let me just mention real quick, guys. It looks like the IDF, of course, is spinning this up because I think they need help, okay? Their Iron Dome is not taking out the ballistic missiles, all of them. They need help. They probably need some resupply. So Benjamin Netanyahu today was saying it's Tel Aviv, it was Tel Aviv, and next it's New York, okay? So they're putting that on us. But now in the last hour, IDF has released this video.
Oh my gosh.
What if your biggest enemy had a plan named and aimed at your annihilation? Israel doesn't have to imagine. Iran has a plan based around their existing ballistic missile capabilities and their accelerating process to obtain nuclear bombs. A plan that will threaten millions of innocent civilians, and a plan that doesn't stop with us, because their next plan will be
And that was put out on the IDF X account.
Well,
Yeah,
well, let me ask you a
just,
question, Brannon.
that is shameless. That is shameless propaganda.
Well, anything in that video said, is it not true?
I don't think most of it's not true.
Which part?
I don't think that we are under threat of ballistic missile destruction from Iran.
Since 1979, the slogan is we're going to wipe Israel off the map and take the Great Satan down. Great Satan is America.
Blowhards,
since 1979. Since
They are
1979.
blowhards.
Well, we could look at it that way, but I wouldn't personally say this video is propaganda because Iran's regime from Khomeini 1979 until today, every morning, every corner, death to America, death to Israel, burn American flag, burn Israeli flag has been going on. I wouldn't say it's propaganda. Is it bad timing? Are they trying to poke? Yes. But I think what they said based on their teaching, their constitution, penal code, and 46 years of behavior, including all the innocent Americans killed by Iranian assassins, I don't think it was propaganda. I think
that is what they excel at. What you just said at the end of your statement there, Annie. They are not going to launch ballistic missiles at New York or London or Paris.
Then why are we so worried that if we get involved with the war, a sleeper cell is going to attack us here? If they're not going to attack us, we shouldn't worry about getting involved with this war then, because they won't.
Yeah,
attack
I mean,
us.
well, look,
I don't think we should be getting. I don't think we should be getting involved in this war, other than in a defensive.
I agree. I think we should
I think that was pure. Netanyahu is desperate to drag the United States into this war.
Is he desperate? Is he desperate though? Is he desperate, Sharon, because he knows he needs our help because their Iron Dome is failing on the hypersonic missiles, or ballistic missiles, at least some of them?
I personally wouldn't use the word desperate. I would say that he is hedging his bets on the fact that if they're going to finish this, if the United States gave them the green light to go ahead and finish this, then the United States is got to back them up at the minimum with the rearmament. That's I think a reasonable involvement. Again, I'm not in favor of American U.S. troops on Iranian soil. I'm saying the rearmament, as you said, these ballistic missiles, these hypersonic missiles are hypersonic. They are hypersonic. They are not, the Iron Dome was not meant for Russian or Chinese modeled hypersonic missiles that Iran has. So, Leo, I think the only place I would push back on what you're saying, I agree with you that, again, I'll say it again. I think the proxies are the greatest threat that we face. But I think that if Iran was desperate, I think they would and could, if they could reach American soil, could potentially hit that those targets. I don't think that's going to be their first option because Iran needs Russia, Iran needs China. So Iran, just like if Israel is jumping into this, and by extension, America kind of gets pulled in. If Iran jumps in and goes after America, by extension, Russia and China get pulled in. And I'm not sure that in any way, shape, or form, the Russians or the Chinese would give permission for the Iranians to directly attack America or American soil. The question is, would they want to do it? I think Iran and all of Islam wants to bring down America, whatever it takes, whether slow or fast. So the right now, strategically, the United States ought to simply render support to Israel, not direct involvement, but come along, parallel involvement, rearm them, whatever they need, go finish the job. I said that from the very beginning. I will stick to that
what
now.
What they need is bunker busting bombs.
Well, that's part of what
they
need. But that's part of what they need. But they also need to be able to. I mean, look, the IDF has been stretched thin, right? The IDF has been, as Aaron said many times, what we talked about before. the Israeli, you're talking about a country of 9 million Jews. That's it. That's it. So how many reservists can they call? How many are coming back? So they are worn thin from all of the last 2 years almost. So I think that not just intelligence, but saying to them, what do you need to finish the job? Whatever you need to finish the job, we will help you to finish the job.
And by the way, Visgard says Russia orders its citizens to leave Israel immediately. We also are hearing sources are saying that President Trump wants to try one last time to get Iranians to the table for a deal.
What I'm afraid of here.
To try what? Again, you said it earlier. 1 second. To say, what is the purpose of a deal? With who? With who? Khomeini, he's having a mental break. Listen, first of all, Khomeini has had multiple health issues before this, right? So he has been ruling Iran since 1989 when Khomeini, the first one, died, when they thought he was the Imam Mahdi. They thought he was the Messiah, and then he died. And then it's like, oops, well, he can't be the Messiah. So Khomeini and his family have been ruling Iran since 1989. He's had health issues before that. He has been unstable before that. But now that it has come to light that he has not left you, because you and I know that Israel, despite what Trump said, that we don't want you hitting Khomeini, I believe Israel said we could care less. If we can get him, we're going to get him.
Yep. By the way, Lindsey Graham tonight is just so excited. Listen to the latest from Graham.
Yes, he is.
We got a chance to end a threat to the state of Israel forever by replacing this regime with something better. And I do believe the biggest winner of the Ayatollah leaving would be the Iranian people. So pray for our troops in harm's way. There are risks associated with any operation. They join the military to keep their country safe and to make the world a better place. And taking on the Ayatollah does both. To our friends in Israel, we have your back. We're praying for success. You've tolerated too much too long into the world. You have normalized trying to kill the Jews. When Israel's attacked, nobody says a word about it. If France were attacked, what would the French do? What would we do? So the days of expecting Israel to sit on the sidelines and not go to the heart of the beast are over. Take this regime down, make the world a better place.
And by the way,
I hate to inform him, but if he thinks Iran is the heart of the beast, he's got another thing coming.
Let me also say,
there
Bill O'Reilly,
are military powers much more powerful than Iran. You've got Russia, you've got China, you've got Turkey. Mr. Lindsey Graham is got a fetish with trying to take out certain regime changes on governments.
Right, we'll
that
be right back. The computer's going to take it away, and we'll tell you what Bill O'Reilly texted the president today, and he heard from him. We'll be right back. We live in uncertain times. In fact, we live at a time when our own governments all over the world are warning us that there could be big problems with our power grid. World War III seems to be right on the horizon. Let me ask you this. Do you have a satellite phone? Should communications go down with cell towers? Do you have a satellite phone to get a hold of that college student or your spouse who travels, whatever it might be, to get a hold of your senior adult parents? We have satellite phones at worldviewtalk.com, and you get the satellite phone for free when you sign up for their very reasonable payment programs for the service. Sign up for the service with a reasonable contract, get the satellite phone for free. Worldviewtalk.com. You'll also find they have, well, what I now have, which is a solar generator. Yeah, I have a gas generator, an LP propane generator, but what if that goes down? I want to back up to my backup. So I now have a solar generator as well. You'll find them at worldviewtalk.com. Check it out today, worldviewtalk.com.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within. Bella Grace Elixir, a luxurious, scientifically crafted blend designed to restore radiance, vitality, and strength at a cellular level. At the heart of Bella Grace Elixir lies Cat's Claw, a powerful herb from the Amazon known for its ability to control inflammation and protect collagen. With Verisol collagen peptides, it goes beyond the surface, stimulating your body's natural collagen production to reduce fine lines, improve skin elasticity, and promote real, visible change. Bella Grace Elixir doesn't stop at collagen. It includes astaxanthin, one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, astaxanthin protects your skin from harmful UV rays and environmental stress, while locking in hydration and promoting a radiant, youthful glow. Experience the power of nature with Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Discover the science behind Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Read powerful testimonials from doctors and real customers who've experienced life-changing results, and explore other wellness products from Bella Grace. Bella Grace Elixir is more than just a product. It's a solution. Visit melissahousebg.com today.
All right, we're getting reports Russia, different countries are now urging their citizens to get out of Iran as well. According to Bill O'Reilly, he says, quote, earlier today, very briefly, I texted with President Trump. He doesn't want to use American air power at this point because that would cause some problems with China and Putin. He would rather have the Iranians surrender, which he believes they will, end quote. Now, is it just me, guys? Or are you getting a little tired of hearing all this hearsay from people that call him, text him, leaks, sources? If the president is going to text with Bill O'Reilly, Bill O'Reilly didn't elect Donald Trump. The American people, 77 million elected him. I don't like it, okay? The president owes it to the American people to tell them his thought process, not for us to hear it from Bill O'Reilly and leaked text. Would you agree with that, Sharam?
Brannon, absolutely, I would agree with that. Again, he doesn't have to divulge their future plans. He doesn't have to divulge what is on the table, but he needs to divulge where they are at right now. Leo said earlier, well, it could change in an hour. Absolutely true. But just where are you at right now? Right now, what we're doing is we want to be able to render support to Israel because Israel is under attack. They need to be able to have the ability to hit these hypersonic missiles. Otherwise, there's going to be massive death toll in Israel. And you have on the table the fact that we don't know if there are any rogue elements, again, within the proxies that could is it possible that any of these hypersonic missiles could have then a payload that maybe is nuclear, maybe from North Korea, maybe from a rogue element in China or in Russia? So there may be other things on the table here that you have to consider as far as the moving pieces. But I agree with you. They have to be able to, he has to be able to say something. And I will say this, I am not, look, I want to be very clear. I am not a fan ever of Lindsey Graham. I'm not. When these guys were, supporting ISIS, we said this earlier the other night, that they seem to always side with the jihadists. But just his words, I'm just talking about his words, for the sake of the Iranian people, I cannot disagree that the best thing would be for Israel to finish the job and decapitate this regime. Again, we could sit here all night like we did the other night for a long time and say, well, what is next? What is the transitional government would look like? Because we already agreed the other night, Brannon, that the United States sucks at regime change. They really suck. They should stay out of it. I don't want Lindsey Graham to pick the horse. I don't want Lindsey Graham to say who the next governor of Iran will be. But this is, please, we got to make sure we do not lose sight. This is a historic moment for the people of Iran, and it is, in the short term, a better situation for Israel. But this could lead, it very much could be a powder keg to the everything we've already talked about, maybe World War III, but certainly a Gog-Magog type of scenario where now you have involvement from Russia and China and other nations.
This is the target. Some of you heard my Red Alert app going off.
Yeah.
And this is now what we're being given.
That's what they're facing.
Yep. Annie, you have some other news about hangings, a Mossad agent being hung?
Yes.
Yep.
They just hung the Mossad agent. Now, we should say they claim he was a Mossad agent. We don't know if he was or not, but because remember, in Islamic Republic of Iran, the wonderful mullahs that we should negotiate with and make surrender because they're very honest. They just label you whatever they want. You do not have the right to a lawyer. You do not even have a right to be at your own court. You are found guilty and then punished. This man supposedly was arrested about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and they convicted him and happened to hang him Monday morning, being technically our last night, Sunday night. He was hung. And I want to repeat, as of right now, 19 Iranians have been arrested from 4 different provinces in Iran by Iran, IRGC, Iranian police, or Sepah, under suspicious of working with Mossad, IDF, and Israel. We don't know what there are yet, but we know 19 of them were arrested in 4 different provinces. Just wait as that number is going to grow.
Brannon, can I ask Annie a question? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Because the question that I've had is, it seems like, and I think some of the commentary out there, I was reading a lot of commentary yesterday, because they're downplaying, well, maybe, this regime isn't going to fall. Maybe because where are the people? Where are the protests right now outside of Iran, like we saw after Mahsa Amini? I don't necessarily think that's telling. I don't necessarily think that's telling of how decapitated this regime really is. But I wanted to get your thoughts on and information that you're hearing from, do you think they're just sitting back and waiting because it's things are not finished yet? The work is not done.
So as far as your first statement, the Islamic Republic has already collapsed. And I actually said this, I think, Saturday or Sunday on Brannon's show. And here's the proof. Not listening to their propaganda. The proof is, we send the screenshots to Brannon. I in the background, my TV is running the IRIB, which is Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcasting, right? It's literally on loop. I'm constantly watching. After the building was hit, they were down for a little bit. They came back on in a different location, of course, terrible quality, no more teleprompter. They had papers on their hand, sound, audio, horrible. However, they got back on. The first thing Sharam John would notice, myself, I actually have pictures on my phone that I have captured from my own TV. The crawler at the bottom started dropping the phrase Islamic Republic altogether. It was the Iran's military, Iran's broadcast, gradually until 2:50 local time of Iran, which would have been about 7:20, 7:25 Eastern time. The side logo stayed. The @IRIB dropped, and you just saw the Tehran time zone stay there. Me and you, we know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
The word Islamic Republic of Iran does not drop from the broadcasting. IRIB disappeared. A logo of a news is there. No colors of the background, just the local time with a crawler that is repeatedly saying Iran, Iran, Iran. So the Islamic Republic has collapsed already. Does that mean people of Iran are free? Absolutely not. There's still more work to be done. As far as people not being on the streets, there are 2 reasons. Number one, I'm sure you've seen the reports, and I have confirmed a lot of them. A lot of opposition, the leaders of opposition who put these protests together and coordinate, they have decided to actually help with taking out IRGC members. They're doing car bombings, they're doing building bombings, they're going more solo than putting average Iranian without training in danger. There's the danger of IRGC, there's the danger of morality police, then there's the danger of bombing. So they're trying to use that tactic at the moment. So I agree with you. Yes, They're not asking for everybody to march on the streets like they did in 2022 or 2019 or 2009 or 1989. They're not doing it because it's not time yet. But as far as the Islamic Republic, it's done. My best bet is IRGC is going to try. I think after the text message for donate for his health, most likely they're going to come out and just say, oops, Supreme Leader died. We don't have a Supreme Leader. We're changing the entire system of the country. We stay within Sharia. However, the leadership will be IRGC now. I think that's how IRGC is going to. Yes.
Yeah,
not
military coup. Huh?
Yes, but
not military,
military.
not the army, but an IRGC coup. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what they're setting the stage up for, which will fail because that's where definitely people of Iran are not going to put up with IRGC as the lead of the country.
Yeah. So,
by the way, Jack Keane, you know, the guy on Fox News that you see, which I don't care for him. He creeps me out. He kind of gives me the EBGB creepies a little bit. That's my personal opinion, by the way. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't, my spirit doesn't set well on this guy. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know him. I've never met him. But I'm just saying my spirit doesn't set well when I hear this guy talk. Well, it's being reported tonight. Well, let me just play it. What did he say? I guess he's consulting Trump now, too.
No.
Well, everybody, all the former generals, Bill O'Reilly, everybody's talking to him. But, you know.
It is in the United States' core national interest to help Israel destroy completely this nuclear enterprise. And Fordow sits out there as a potential target that Israeli is challenged by. It's not that they don't have imagination. It's not that they couldn't do some surprising things. None of that certainly would be off the table.
Okay.
But the guarantee is for the United States to use its penetration bombing to take that site out. And I believe once that's done, we start to see the end of this thing.
General, let me, got about a minute left. You're talking about Fordow. It's relatively located right here, west of Tehran, the capital city. This is Natanz here, just to the east and south of it. This is an aerial picture, General, okay, of Natanz and what it was before. You've got buildings and structures here, buildings here, and buildings here. That's pre-war. Now you've got complete devastation in Natanz here, this building located here, as well as this one in the upper right-hand corner. Natanz is very different from what this site that you're describing. Fordow is a half-mile buried inside of a mountain. And you believe the United States has no choice but to get involved with the Iranians? Explain that, sir.
Well, it's in the United States' core national interest that Iran does not have a nuclear capability and get to it. That's a fact. And this capability, if we leave it there, the Ayatollah will recover and rebuild. And that's what he's absolutely counting on. That's why he never was willing to dismantle the program himself with verification. That would end his program. Here he believes he has a chance. And that's what these guys are all about. And we've got to finish what we started here. We can't look like we haven't come to the assistance of the Israelis when they needed it the most here to finish this operation. They are our strongest ally in the region. What do you think the Arabs would think after the president's visit there, looking at this and they're saying, my, if the United States isn't going to help the Israelis at this critical time, what's the chance they're going to help us? Does this motivate Putin a little bit more to stay the course in terms of what he's doing, and President Xi? If we don't help the Israelis finish this off, it's their operation. We would lend a support to it to finish it off. And that's what I'm suggesting, and I'm certain the president is making those considerations.
No, I didn't hear him saying he was consulting with the president, but someone put out there that he had consulted him. He was advising Trump over the weekend on this, but I didn't hear him saying that himself. So who knows?
You know,
Leo?
Brannon, I agree that the general is a little creepy. He also happens to be a big-time major neocon warmonger. But what he said there was actually true. The Israelis do not have the capability to
and David Pine has been telling us that for what, 2 years or more?
Yes, absolutely. And David Pine So far, he's batting 1,000. Everything he said has been working out to be true. And this is just the latest thing, that the Israeli military does not have the capability to take out a nuclear facility that's a half mile or more buried into a mountain. Okay, it just doesn't have a bomb that heavy and that big. The United States apparently does, but even that, remains to be seen, right? That's why I just keep telling people the original mission of this entire operation has not been accomplished yet, and everybody's waving the victory flags. I mean, I guess if your mission was to take out the Islamic Republic, like Annie said, that's been pretty much already accomplished. The IRGC is likely in power right now, and they're just as bad. So there's still more work to do on that front, but that wasn't even the stated mission. The stated mission was to take out Iran's nuclear capability, or what capability it might have in the very near future if it doesn't have it already. That has not been accomplished, and they will need the United States, as the creepy general said to Fox News, to make that happen.
So let me ask you guys this. What do you think happens should we make a strike? Do we see any response, Annie, from China, from North Korea, from Russia? Do you see any terror cells in the U.S. do anything? Or do they strike and life goes on?
By us, you mean United States?
Correct.
I genuinely wish we wouldn't. As you know, just like Sharon said, from day one, I have said, President Trump, please don't get involved. Stay out of this. But if we have to strike ourselves, I don't think anything's going to happen.
So you think if we strike, take out the regime, take out their nuclear weapons, then life goes on?
Yeah, and let me just take an extra moment here. I'm personally not waving the victory flag whatsoever. If it was, I wouldn't be sitting here at like 10 o'clock at night still translating. However, I will say, since Islamic Republic has collapsed, Khamenei disabled, decapitated, I'm not sure exactly what is there for Russia or China to defend. IRGC, they don't have a deal with IRGC. IRGC, it's worse. They're all brainwashed and ruthless, but they don't hold any power over anybody. They don't have the money. They don't have the power to make calls. That's why they're not going to last too long. So if I would look at it from point of view of red-green axis, red isn't there anymore. Green isn't there anymore. Why would red get involved with it? And it's not like Russia can conquer Iran and take it, or China could do that. So, again, I'm no expert on war. I have never served in any war or military. But looking at history of the trades between traders, nothing's going to happen.
Leo or Shahram, what do you think?
Well, again, I think that if the United States was to directly be involved, then the chances of proxies attacking on the homeland here in America goes up. I think that is still the number one threat as far as to the American homeland, and or potentially to some of our troops in the region. If there was a way that they could, again, to Leo's point about we don't know what the American capabilities are with those bunker busters, if they can give those bunker busters to Israel, let Israel hit what they're doing, let's do that. And the only thing I would add to what Leo said is I would disagree that the objective was simply to go after the nuclear facilities.
No, I said that was the stated objective.
Well, I disagree with that, though, because Netanyahu said that this is the opportunity to end this regime.
He said that after the operation began.
After.
Hold right there, guys. Computer's going to take it away. We'll be back with more as you get ready to wrap for the night. WorldviewTube.com. We'll be right back.
But with Brannon, it's always cutting edge stuff happening in the world. And it's not just from the political angle, because you can get that on other platforms, but it's always from the biblical angle. So you're dealing with a guy that loves Jesus, you're dealing with a guy that's very intelligent, you're dealing with a guy that is cutting edge conservatism, and you're dealing with a guy that wants to be biblical all at the same time. And so for that reason alone, I hope many, many people will not just lift up his ministry in prayer, but will also financially get behind it, because from the angle I'm trying to describe, he really is the only game in town. And we desperately need it in these last days. Can I get an amen to that?
And here's one of the headlines we're reading tonight. China reportedly tells citizens in Israel to leave as soon as possible. So what, about 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m. in Israel right now. You two want to clarify anything else before we move on to another topic?
No, I was just saying that the stated goal of the mission before it began was to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, I know as soon as it began, it switched and it was broadened to regime change. But they did not sell this mission before it began as we want to do a regime change. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone could show me a statement where maybe I am, but I don't remember hearing it, is all I'm saying.
Shahram, you want to respond?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's right that it wasn't stated at the time. I'm just saying that Netanyahu has consistently, over the last number of years, spoken directly to the Iranian people and said the best thing, the best outcome, the best thing that can happen is regime change. So I think that knowing how long this has been planned, knowing how many years they planned this, if they were going to go in, they were going to go in all the way. That's all I'm saying is I think that whatever they said, the intent was going all the way. You got to.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree that was the intent all along. I was just saying that they didn't advertise it that way.
Sure. And so I think that because of that, they need to, see this through, because I don't believe that, Brannon, and to Annie's point earlier, I think the only way that the IRGC stays in control is if they had support from Russia or China or some of these other nations to stay in power. If those nations don't intervene and just let it play out, I think it will all collapse. And I think then the people will rise up. And then you got to pray for some sort of a transitional a decent transitional government. By the way, going back to what we said on Saturday night, I've thought about this more since Saturday night. I do think prophetically, Brannon, that there is a stronger chance with the number of coalitions that are in Iran, the Turks, the Armenians, the Kurds, the Balochistan, the Iranian, the Persian. There is a chance that maybe you're going to have a divvied up country after this, that, Iran, quote unquote, is not just going to be kind of one Islamic republic, obviously, but it is going to be divvied up, multiple provinces, maybe a mixed government like what happened in Iraq. So this is by no means over. A long way for there to be, quote, freedom in Iran for the Persian people.
But we're also getting reports tonight, U.S. military bases in the Indo-Pacific region recently increased their force protection condition level from Alpha to Bravo.
Yeah.
Any new reports before we get ready to wrap with you guys?
The only news report I have confirmed by Iran International is Khamenei's inner circle are negotiating exits with Russia. That is Ali Asghar, which is basically the deputy chief of Khomeini's office, has been on the phone with a senior Russian official requesting an exit to Russia.
Wait a minute. The Khomeini wants to go to Russia?
No, his deputy chief.
His deputy chief. Okay.
Yes.
I don't think Khamenei can go anywhere.
Khamenei's done.
I think they will. I think they will kill him if he goes anywhere. So I think he's trying to ride this out in the bunker, and I think it's not gonna go well if he survives this at all.
Yeah, but Sharamjan, you know
the
where
people
the
will hang
bunker
him.
is?
So
Sharamjan, do you know where
I
the
heard
bunker
it was in
is?
northern Tehran.
It's in Lavizan. Literally
gosh.
getting him from Lavizan, Tehran to any safe borders to get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, no, they will hit
way.
him.
They hit him
Yeah.
immediately. They
Yeah.
picked the wrong bunker. And that's why I said maybe this was part of IRGC plan. They didn't get him to the bunker for safety. They got him to the bunker knowing this is it. That bunker will be his grave.
Yeah, it's very likely. And then you have, again, right now, the concern is a ruthless military coup, but not by the actual military. As we said, you're praying for the good guys in the military to rise up and side with the people there and establish. That, to me, is the immediate outcome of this, is if anything that the United States can do is to broker with Russia and China, get these guys to give up, get the IRGC to step out of the way, put in a transitional government with the actual military, not the IRGC, the army, and then let a democratic, of course, I would believe in a Republican form of government, but a democratic process to go forth. But I just, again, Brandon, I think that it's very likely that now Iran is going to be splintered, very likely, given the factions that are there in Iran.
And I think that's why the Khamenei members are trying to escape. Because they know if IRGC is already in charge, they stand no chance.
Yeah, they'll all be executed quickly.
And let's see here. I want to verify this a little bit more before I show it.
By the way, Brandon, while you're looking for that, every law enforcement agency in America right now should be given directives on heightened alert. We have to be right now on guard for the potential of dirty bombs, potential of chemical agents. I don't think at this point that Iran would be able to pull off an EMP. But
they could if they had Club K car they put out there on a cargo ship and launch off the Gulf of America.
They could. This is going to question now U.S. intelligence, right? And how either inept or inept U.S. intelligence is of preparing for that.
But we only scan about 1% of those cargo cars. So
true. Coming in.
They could have them sit. I talked to a guy when he was active, and he's now retired. He had 600 agents answering to him inside the National Reconnaissance Office or organization. He said, we have no way of knowing whether those are here or not when you're scanned so few of these cargo ships. They could already be here.
But again, like you've said it several times tonight, the president needs to come out. The president needs to prepare the nation for a heightened level of security because when you have desperate people, if we truly understand that they have all of these cells, whether in the United States or in other nations, those cells are going to be loyal to the ideology. By the way, even if let's just presume for a moment this thing collapses, you have an interim government in Iran, you have something decent come out of this. Let's not forget, we are still fighting Islam. And so Iran doesn't have a bomb, the Pakistanis do. Other Islamic nations do. So the red-green axis doesn't go away. It's just taking Iran off the table of that bigger picture that we're dealing with long term. So this is
and
by
also
no
a
means...
lot of funding out of the picture, though, Sharon John. If you think about it, that lack of funding is gonna be a biggest step back. They have to recruit or find a new Khamenei to fund them.
For the Shia side, yes, but the Sunni side funding is what the money is flowing into America, right? Why is Tucker Carlson being such a shill? Why is Candace Owens being such a shill? Because we know that we can track the Qatari funding. We can track the Qatari funding to the universities in America that have been, quote unquote, ignorant or lacking or willing to fight anti-Semitism. So I'm just saying the Shia side would be off the table. The Sunni side is alive and well. The funding, you're right. But also, let's not forget how much we funded Iran and kept them alive. When I mean Iran, I mean, this regime. So I said the other night, if we don't intervene, if America, Russia, or China doesn't intervene to keep this thing alive, the IRGC or the Islamic Republic, then it is done.
Is there any chance that Iran at this point, do they have enough leadership? Do they have enough viability to be in a moment of desperation with their eschatology of chaos bringing the 12th Imam? Do they have any wherewithal left, with so many of their leaders gone, to go broke and launch a nuclear weapon?
That's absolutely, you can't say never. They themselves wouldn't have the capability. As I said earlier, the question is...
But I'm assuming they do have a nuclear weapon. Former CIA analyst Peter Pry thought they had one, and he's been dead a few years. So even with a short-range missile, would they have the capability, or would they have some kind of delivery method to use a nuclear weapon against Israel as a last resort? Leo, do you think?
It's possible.
That's the $1 million question, yeah. Brannon. I agree. I'm so glad you brought it up. We won't know until we know. We are hearing these warnings, everybody get out of Israel. That could just be one big psyop to try to terrorize the Israelis and make them think that something huge is coming and nothing whatsoever happens except for a few hypersonic missiles. But the other side of the coin is Peter Pry is right. They have a nuclear weapon. They have a delivery system. And they launch it they've got their backs against the wall, and they say we have nothing to lose at this point. Let's launch it.
Presuming, though, Brannon, that those that's why I said earlier with my concern with the hypersonic missiles, because we don't know that the payload, right? We don't know the payload. Could they have, whether they have the bomb or they got it from North Korea, they got it from China, they got it from some of the Chechens, they have multiple proxies, right, that they could have gotten it from. The desperation always is a concern when you're, like you said, your eschatology and your ideology motivation is the more chaos we create in the world, the quicker their Islamic Messiah shows up. Mm-hmm. But the question is, how much of the capability of their missile systems has Israel already taken out? Leo's right. We won't know, unfortunately, until we know, because that's a loose cannon that you can't predict. But to your question, is it possible? I think it's possible on the table because we just don't know what they have procured.
All right. liveuptofreedom.com and liveuptofreedom.substack.com is Annie's website. liveuptofreedom.com and liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Sharam is Till Ministry, tilministry.com, tilministry.com. And Leo Holman is leoholman.com and leoholman.substack.com. Excellent panel as always. I'm telling you, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and now tonight, Monday night, we're getting a lot of emails, people saying, thank you so much for these panels. I'd be lost in understanding all this without you guys. not to pat ourselves on the back, but would you guys agree in closing? There are not a lot of networks giving this kind of overall coverage, including bringing in the biblical prophecy side?
I can't think of one.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Without fail. Without fail.
Great job, guys. We're getting a lot of compliments on all of you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brannon.
Thank you, Brannon.
And if you guys, and Annie, thank you for all your hard work, all of you, but Annie particularly today, really chasing it all down and translating it. Folks, if you appreciate all we're doing, would you consider going right now, worldviewfoundation.com, making a contribution of any size, worldviewfoundation.com. We're pushing it all out for free. We're working really hard without any days off because that's what the job calls for. That's what you expect from us, and we deliver. So, I really need your support. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. We need your support, the network, to keep pushing it out for free. You'll also find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. All right? Reagan, I did an interview this afternoon that I pre-taped with Dr. Lucky. Can we do that next? No, we can go right to it. Okay, he wants to take a break, then go to it. I did a really good interview this afternoon with Dr. Lucky. And if you guys want to find a way to support us and yourself, your health, I hope you'll watch what we're about to air after this quick break. My interview I did today with Dr. Lucky. You don't want to miss it. We need your prayers. We need your support. Tell all your family and friends about us. We're really growing. We're really growing, folks. But we need more of those new listeners to jump in and support us. You've been watching some of you a while now. You like what you see? Now would you consider becoming a supporter? Worldviewfoundation.com, or the other way again, worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. As necessary, we'll break in, folks. Make sure you have our app. Make sure you have a notification set, because we always do a push right before we go live. May God save America and Israel. Take care. Hello, I'm Brannon Howse. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHousebg.com. We're not changing courses now. We are who we are. We're committed to the truth that we are committed to. Worldview Tube is a broadcast network that I started in 2006, but it's based on my 35 years as an author and speaker and commentator. Worldview Tube is here to defend the truth of a Christian worldview. And we believe we can apply it to all areas of life, like law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, major issues.
At worldviewtube.com, we provide news from around the globe that isn't typically covered by mainstream media. Visit worldviewtube.com to watch our experts and analysts discuss all your favorite topics on our 24/7 live stream. Explore our extensive collection of unfiltered and uncensored content from 35 years of production. Go to worldviewtube.com today. Also find us on all of these major platforms and download our Worldview Tube mobile app.
You're watching Worldview Tube, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
Joining me now is Dr. Lucky. Dr. Lucky, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Brandon, good to see you as always.
You too, my friend. Hey, you know that my hands were cracking and bleeding for years and years and years. You texted me the other day what your hands look like before you got on Bella Grace. Show that to our audience, will you please?
Actually, this was a patient of mine.
Oh, it was a patient. Okay.
Yes, and when this came in, I immediately thought about you, and I wanted to send you a picture of it. But this is a picture of a patient.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's what my hands look like. I mean, it was painful, very painful. Now, how long has the patient been struggling with that?
For about 10 years or so.
I was at least that somewhere around that time frame. Maybe a little less. It's hard to know. It kind of all runs together, but maybe more actually. And did he tell you that it was year round, even in the summer?
Year round, worse in spring and fall for some reason. Certainly better times. The winter times seem to be a little bit better, but when sweated a little bit, more inflammation, more the crackingness that would happen, more of the bleeding.
So what are you going to do for him?
So what we essentially did, you see the bottom picture, we put him on the Bella Grace elixir, and within about 90 days, about 3 months, you can clearly see the difference in the hand.
Yep. And my hands have not cracked and bled. Now, I did get pneumonia last year, and so I quit taking it for maybe a week or less than a week. I stopped taking it. And right away, the cracking started on one of my thumbs. So I immediately got back on it, and it went away again. So clearly there's, this works, but we've heard this from a lot of other people, so I'm not shocked. But you think it's all tied to leaky gut, don't you?
All tied to how the gut interacts with the rest of your body. Everything that happens in your body goes through your gut. 80% of your immune system is found in your gut. Your gut controls the way you think, your brain. It controls your skin health. It, of course, controls how your stomach feels as well. You hear that saying, hey, I have a gut feeling, right? I got a gut feeling. Everything happens in the gut.
Well, this is, again, one of the reasons why we love Bella Grace. Love it, love it, love it. Tell our audience, again, some of the other benefits that we're hearing. I mean, some of our audience, they were supposed to have surgeries on their fingers. One lady couldn't bend her finger. She got surgery. She got on the Bella Grace a few weeks later. She said, I don't need the surgery. I can bend my finger. We've had people say one guy wrote in about a month ago, said his wife for 10 years had pain in her legs. The doctors could not explain. Got on Bella Grace. Within about a couple weeks, her pains are gone. I mean, this almost sounds contrite, but and if I were watching this broadcast, I would say, is that really true? But because I'm skeptical, I'm highly skeptical of that kind of stuff, right? But we've experienced in our own life and our own audience, and we have the testimonials from our audience to prove it. Not to mention, Dr. Mark Miller himself was going to have I think a ACL surgery or something, loaded up on the cat's claw, and it's been a couple decades, never had the surgery.
Absolutely. Yeah, our formulator, Dr. Miller, knew exactly what he was doing when he put these 3 ingredients together. We've got the Verisol B collagen, which is the world's most studied collagen, 10 human clinical trials, 70 human clinical trials with our Astareal astaxanthin, and then, of course, our cat's claw. All 3 of these ingredients, all 3 of these are anti-inflammatory or have properties of being anti-inflammatory. And you're right, we hear this all the time. It's too good to be true. But when you start really diving into the science and you really understand how these 3 ingredients synergistically work together, some people call it the GOAT, the greatest of all time, because when you can reduce and eliminate the inflammation in the body, this allows that Verisol B collagen to do what it was designed to do. So most people, Brandon, this is going to be new information for you tonight. Most people know collagen is for your skin, your hair, and your nails. And that is true. And we've talked about it lining the gut, right? Which is why when you can repair that gut with our Verisol B collagen and our Bella Grace elixir, that's why you're getting those symptom relief, those things that happen with you as well as our other patients. But what you may not know is 90% of the protein in your bone is collagen. Your collagen in your bone, that's your structure. That is your rebar. If you were building a concrete building and you wanted that rebar, think about that. That's what that collagen does. It provides the structure so that the calcium can lay down on top of it. Because most people, when they think bone health, it's only about calcium. And let me tell you, it's more about collagen. You got to have that structure for the calcium to lay down on.
So I want to go back here to this, the 82, 81, 80 plus clinical trials. I mean, they're on my website there, Melissa's website, melissahousebg.com, for people to read. They can scroll through them. 80 clinical trials. So this is real science. That's another thing I love about it. It's backed up by not only the testimonials, but it's backed up by the science, which explains why the testimonials flood in like they do, because it's not something that's made up. It's not in their head. Oh, I think it makes me feel better. We have too many physical ailments that are being corrected, so we know it's really working. And people would not stay on the subscription if it wasn't working. They wouldn't spend the money to stay on the subscription if they weren't getting results. But we know why they're getting the results. They are because of the science that's explaining why they're getting those results. So this to me was a major selling point before we even started seeing my own personal results. I thought, well, if there's that much 80 clinical trials behind it, there must be something to this. And of course, now we have the personal testimonials as well.
That's right. Made by nature, proven by science, right?
Wait a minute, I love that. Made by nature, proven by science. I love that.
That's right. So you got to take a look at like the astaxanthin, 70 human clinical trials behind it for everything from skin to eye health. You know, astaxanthin crosses the blood-brain barrier. It crosses the blood-retinal barrier. It protects you against UVA and UVB rays in the sun. Again, we've talked about it before. This is why when you boil a crab or a lobster, it turns red. That's the astaxanthin leaching off the protein. And their bodies are protected by the astaxanthin because they're bombarded by the sun damage all the time. Our bodies need that astaxanthin as well for multiple reasons: to scavenge free radicals, lower oxidative stress.
What are free radicals? For those who don't know, what are free radicals?
So free radicals are things in your body that do your body damage. I'll give you an example. The mitochondria in your body, these are organelles in your cells that make energy. Well, when you're making energy, you're going to have an outflow or an outpour or the byproduct, if you will, of making energy. And that byproduct is a free radical. And these are unstable electrons that are bouncing around the body doing damage, causing wrinkles, causing more inflammation, causing cytokine storm. So, you want antioxidants in your body in order to neutralize and get rid of those free radicals. And astaxanthin is the number one. It's called the king of antioxidants, 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, 800 times stronger than CoQ10, 350 times stronger than green tea extract, 100 times stronger than vitamin E. Again, it's the king of antioxidants, and there's nothing better to neutralize free radicals than astaxanthin in your body.
Now, I want to bring something in here, Doc. And these here, look at this. Look at this. These are hydrangeas. My wife cut these hydrangeas 2 weeks ago today and put them in water 2 weeks ago today. Normally, she says within a few days, they start to die and wilt. 2 weeks. Now, this is in water. I want to go over here and show you. This is in worldviewwater.net's the page. But this is a water filter that we promote. And it filters out all of these toxins: ammonia, lead, fluoride, copper, chlorine, all of this.
Exactly. Yeah.
All this stuff taken out. Now, people say that maybe haven't seen me in a while, like a lady did where I buy my vests. She saw me for the first time in several months with my wife last week. She said, she acted like I wasn't standing there because she turns to my wife and says, "What's he doing?" He looks thinner. His hair is thicker. I've never seen his hair so thick. And she said, and his jawline seems more chiseled. And I went right away talking about Bella Grace and the anti-inflammatory in there. And I said, but I'm also on other things too that I think are really helping it. My phytoplankton, my Numi that has my glutathione in it that detoxes my cells. And I said, I'm drinking water that has all of the chemicals out of it, and I'm showering with that water. So I have a filter on my shower to get all those chemicals. I mean, those chemicals can't be good for my hair growth, not to mention my inward. So they can't be good for the inner workings. I don't think they're good for the outer workings. So what I'm trying to say is, I think it's the collection of this great 3 products in the Bella Grace, and then when you add in things like great water with it, right? I mean, look at this. We have had people email us pictures where they did this. Put flowers in water that's filtered for the same filter we use. And they're like, this is nuts. Well, now we've done it ourselves. 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today. So what I'm saying is, I think even showering with good water, getting those chemicals out of my head, my hair, off my skin, all of this is collectively working together. And what I guess I'm saying is, if patients of yours and the listeners of ours will combine the benefits and the foundations of Bella Grace with good water and exercise and other things, I think it's not without doubt from our own experience in the science to say, you too could have great results. This is not something that I think is subjective to us alone.
So many different directions I could take this. If you'll allow me to,
please.
I would love to go a couple of ways with it. Number one, we're going to spend about $52 billion this year on anti-aging and longevity products. By the year 2030, that number is going to be about $146 billion. So it's now coming of age. People are wanting to take better care of themselves, and they need to start with their water. I mean, listen, your skin is your largest organ, and it only takes 15 seconds for things to get in it. No wonder people have been sick. They're poisoning us with these things in our water, lead and arsenic and chlorine leaching into our body. So anytime you can get rid of those things out of your water, out of your lawn, out of your body, you're going to be a healthier person. No doubt about it. When we combine that with good, clean water, and by the way, Brandon, I'm going to ask you a trick question. Does pure water conduct electricity? Does water conduct electricity, I would say?
I would say yes, right?
So water, it's not pure water that will conduct electricity. It's the minerals and the toxins in the water that conduct electricity. So pure water without any minerals, without any oxides, without anything in it is not going to conduct electricity. Really hard to get that pure water. But when you can use these products like you are putting out into the community, out into the world, and I want to just thank you for that, because it takes people like us to tell others, hey, you can do better, you can feel better, you can look better, you can just be better and be healthier all the way around. It's really, really amazing. And you got to start with your water on the body and going in the body as well. I'll add this too, intermittent fasting. If you're not intermittent fasting, and they're going to call it, you'll hear them call it time restricted eating, where you're eating 8 to 9 hours a day. When you can do that, a lot of studies this week talking about intermittent fasting with high intensity workouts. It's going to lower blood pressure. It's going to help body composition. It's going to help with your just overall just help. So guys, we're at the forefront of these products. We're at the forefront of helping you be the healthiest you can be.
Well, I want to go back here then, folks. In closing, there it is, MelissaHouseBG.com. And you're going to find the elixir that I take every day. Now, sometimes I do 2 a day, but you don't have to. How many do you do a day, Doc?
I do at least 2 a day.
Why do you do? I do 2 a day just because I'm getting such great results. I'm like, well, then 2 is better than 1. So, I mean, why do you do 2 a day?
So it's interesting, Brandon. I have people come see me in my office, and when I'm introducing them the product, I'm going to do one with them. And there are days where I do 3 or 4 because I've got 3 or 4 new patients, and I want to show them that if I'm going to take it and drink it, you're going to take it and drink it. And So that's kind of why I do it.
Okay. Well, I do 2 a day sometimes, not every day, just because I'm like, it works for me. I love it. I love the benefits. I'm going to do another one. But
and
you don't
taste.
And it tastes great.
Right?
Yeah. You know what? Frankly, I like to have one after dinner because I kind of have a little bit of a sweet tooth after dinner. So instead of reaching for a piece of chocolate, I will go take my Bella Grace because it has a sweet taste to it.
That's right.
So you got the elixir there, folks. And then if you go to Melissa Howse BG, you find the skincare. Melissa loves the skincare. And by the way, Melissa does the Bella Trim. She does the Bella Trim. It's according to a lot of studies, it's good for your cardiac health, right, Doc?
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
And it helps stubborn belly fat. And she has lost weight with this. She weighs herself, hops up on the scale, and she's been really happy with the results. So she's been doing the Bella Trim. This also is kind of given her, she thinks, because people have commented to her on how her jawline looks kind of chiseled. There have been reports this weight management's doing that for people's faces as well, right?
Yes, sir. The Bella Trim, again, another product made by nature, proven by science, 8 international or clinical studies, 6 international awards. It's made with chromium picolinate, cinnamon, some prebiotics, but metabolate is lemon verbena and red hibiscus. And when you can take all of those together, it's going to lower your hunger hormone called ghrelin, raise your leptin, but it's also going to lower your cortisol, lower your blood sugar, lower your blood pressure, and it sends information. This is the important part. Sends information to your mitochondria to create more energy. And when you can create more energy, metabolism goes up and fat goes down. Now remember, astaxanthin in our Bella Grace elixir repairs the mitochondria. And if the mitochondria cannot be repaired, that astaxanthin will tell the cell, hey, I'm going to eat this up. I'm going to scavenge it like a free radical, but I want you to make another mitochondria. So a lot of good benefits synergistic benefits between the two. The astaxanthin repairing the mitochondria, the Bella Trim telling the mitochondria to get busy and produce more energy.
Excellent. So go there, folks, for that on the weight management. Then the restorative sleep. Tell me about that in closing.
Well, I love the sleep gummy. I helped formulate, or I supported the formulation of the sleep gummy, 9 botanicals, over 269,000 PubMed studies on the ingredients: valerian root, L-theanine, 5-HTP, ashwagandha, chamomile, magnesium, lemon balm, passion, all designed to get you to fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, but the next day, wake up really, really refreshed, really feeling amazing, and really ready to conquer the day. I tell you, we put a little bit of melatonin just so you can get that REM sleep as well. It is a complete formula for sleep.
All right, folks, it's all there at MelissaHouseBG.com, MelissaHouseBG.com. And I got to bring my flowers, my hydrangeas back in here. My wife loves hydrangeas. That's like one of her favorite shrubs. She loves them. Do you have those where you live?
Brandon, I was just going to tell you, every time we speak, we have more and more in common. My wife was just cutting our hydrangeas back yesterday, the blue ones, just like that. And we've got a few pinks. It depends on the acidity in the soil, if they're blue or pink. But yes, we do. They're shade-loving plants, and we love our hydrangeas down here in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. You're in Charleston, South Carolina. You would definitely have them down there. Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Dr. Lucky, and where can they get your book? And what is the name of the book again?
Yeah, so we've got a couple books now. I've got, Inflammaging, Unlocking the Secrets to Inflammation and Aging, and that's on Amazon Prime, as well as my new book, Rest to Repair. Let me get out of the screen 1 second. Sorry. I've got it right here. Oop, that's my Inflammaging book right there. And then my Rest to Repair book. Sorry, Brandon. Right there, Rest to Repair, also on Amazon Prime as well. So you guys get your copy. Great reads, help you sleep better and understanding why inflammation causes you to be sick.
Absolutely. Dr. Lucky, spell his name correctly, Luckie, right?
That's right.
Spell it correctly into Amazon. Dr. Mark Lucky, get his book. As always, Dr. Lucky, thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir. Good to see you. Can't wait to see you again.
You too, my friend. And folks, I do hope you'll go to Melissa Howse, I should say, BG.com. Get a subscription like we have so it shows up every month so you don't miss out. Just get a subscription to the Elixir. Again, Melissa and I do this. Logan, you do this every day now too, don't you? Logan does this. Melissa does this. Logan, you're not neglecting this now, are you? You got to get back on. He said he's neglecting it. Well, that's your loss, Logan. He says he's got to get back on it. The young people, with all that's going on in the world today and all the things happening, this is a great thing to put our young people on as well. So get a subscription, folks. MelissaHowseBG.com. MelissaHowseBG.com. We'll be right back after this break.